Dark Souls 3 is my favourite Souls game and is one of my favourite games of all times. In many ways I think it's the pinnacle of its series, but then there are some areas that it could have worked a little bit harder in. Still, it's a game that I love and I've put many hours into it, Jesus fuck, and I'm always looking for reasons to go back and play, as well as looking for excuses to make a video on Dark Souls for some reason or another. A few days ago, or a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, depending on when I actually make this video, I decided that I wanted to see if the equipment of a starting class could carry an Ashen one throughout the entire game. From the moment we rise amongst the dead in the Cemetery of Ash until our final confrontation with the embodiment of the cycle itself and the kiln of the first flame, how viable is the stuff that you get for a class in the long run? So that's what I decided to dedicate a few days to, seeing if I could beat the whole game as some random starting class. Let's define the rules of this little excursion, shall we? I must only use the weapons and armour of a starting class to complete the game. The class itself will be chosen by a random name generator, and once selected, I cannot change. I can upgrade the equipment that I have, and I can equip rings that I find. However, if the class already has a ring, then I cannot remove that ring from the slot at any point. At no point am I allowed to summon NPCs or other players to aid me in battle. I must beat the game alone. I am allowed to use tools, but only the ones that I find in the world, and only if I'm struggling with an area or a boss. I define struggling by dying at least 3 times before reaching an area's boss, or by dying twice to that boss. I won't be counting any deaths that come as a result of me walking off cliffs or ledges, because I'm dumb. I'm pretty sure that will happen. I am allowed to level up, but only after defeating an area's boss. Once I leave Firelink Shrine, I'm forbidden to return until I've defeated a boss. Mini-bosses such as the Stray Demon do not count for this, so I have to make sure I have everything done before I return. It's mostly to stop the whole going back and forth thing, which is really annoying. The run is complete once I've defeated the Soul of Cinder, though I am encouraged to seek out the optional bosses where I can. So those are my rules, and with them out there, we can begin. Let's see how this goes. Here's hoping I don't wind up as the Deprived or the Knight or something. I feel like the Deprived class would just be the worst to get saddled with for obvious reasons, and I also feel like the Knight would just make things too easy, as it's kind of the default I go for when I start a new Dark Souls game, and it has like the best shield and the best armour for your early game. I feel like that one would just be cheap. Also, for fun, I'll have a permanent death counter in the top right of the corner, because why not? I feel like that's going to come up a lot. So, let's get to it. First things first, I need to figure out what class I'll be, so let's use this random name picker I found on the interweb. I filled out the slots as you can see with each of the classes. Now let's see how screwed I am. Alright, I'm a cleric, I guess. So let's start a new game and make a new character. I'm not going to spend as much time in a character creation as I usually would. I'm just going to load a saved favourite because it's easier. Plus I really like this one. So this is what we look like. I chose not to have a burial gift. I didn't really think I could make use of any of the ones there. Well, I guess I could have taken the soul, really, couldn't I? It just didn't occur to me to do so. Anyway, let's rise from the grave and begin our quest. This will probably have a very different feeling to how I usually do the Fallout 4 run things that I do, mostly because it's a very different type of game. Anyway, here we are, we're rising from the grave in our nice blue robe and our little turtle shell on our back. I'm not 100% sure why the cleric has a turtle shell, but the cleric has a turtle shell. Anyway, this is the Cemetery of Ash, the starting area. Before we get properly into this though, I'm going to go into the menu and enable the HUD. Usually I play with the HUD off just so it feels more cinematic, but as I'm not used to playing as a cleric, I figure it's probably best to at least have it on auto. That way I can see my stats and watch my health deplete, because it's going to. Haha. Stupid son of a bitch. I quickly run to grab the soul item here to use later, and after defeating another hollow, we pick up the Ashen Estus Flask, which you use to restore your mana, or focus points as Dark Souls 3 calls it. It's then on to slay a hollow archer boy, and then after a nice view of Firelink Shrine, we get our first bonfire. With that lit, we can push forward. The enemies in this area aren't particularly powerful. Don't get me wrong, if they gang up on you, they can combo you to death, so it's best to delete them one at a time where you can, but for the most part, they are very easy to defeat. Just one charged heavy attack and that usually does it. We're heading back up this way because there's an item on top of a coffin here that we jump to get. It's just a Titanite shard, nothing special, but it is handy for upgrading the old weapon. This mace and me are going to be very good friends. I'd like it to be as powerful as possible. Nice little drop kill there. Already, we're pretty much at the first boss. It's just past this archer dickhead here. I missed that. Take that. There you go. I'm very bad at judging the distance between enemies. I'm going to go back and kill some extra guys for some souls, although there's not much point at this particular moment in time. They don't drop many souls. It's kind of pointless really. It's more just to get used to the fact that I can't rely on my shield as much as I used to. This shield does not block 100% damage, so some is always going to get through. I'm trying to get used to just using the mace. I could be two-handing it. I don't know why I don't think to do that just yet. I'm coming down here because there's some items I want as well. I think that's probably what initially made me want to kill everyone, just to get to the items here. The item down here are just some fire bombs, but they're really useful on Undead Gundir's second phase. I don't think I'll need them. I can usually beat him without this sort of stuff, but I'm not liking the look at my health there. I'm going to heal right now. See? Ta-da! Like, basically half my health back. Thank you very much. But yeah, I wanted the fire bombs just in case I struggle to beat Undead Gundir this time around. His second phase, he's very weak to fire. Of course, I'm not going to do that straight away. The rules I set up before this state that unless I'm struggling, like, it was 3 times in a row, wasn't it? Yeah, 3 times in a row, that's when I can use them. If I get killed by the boss 3 times in a row, that is, then I can use them. Otherwise, we're going to try and avoid that sort of thing. Anyway, first boss, Undead Gundir. I'm not really going to do any commentary for this fight, I'm just sort of going to let you enjoy it. We're running up to him now, going to pull a sword from his chest and start the fight. So enjoy, I'll provide commentary for later bosses. This one though, I think it's just going to be fun to let you have a watch. I hope you enjoyed watching just how bad I am at Dark Souls, although I didn't die, so that's good. I just missed, like, several easy parries. Well, a couple of easy parries. I missed a couple of easy parries, and I took more damage than I really should have. I have no business playing this game. With Undead Gundir dead, I make my way to Firelink Shrine. It's a very bleak place, if you know the backstory, but look at those thrones. Impressive. We're not going to hang around just yet, or go to the Firekeeper to level up at all. First of all, we're going to go to the roof. We can get there a little sooner than we're supposed to. Well, not the main part of the roof. We can't get to the Pickle Pea Crow just yet. But we can get to a part of the roof. We're doing this for 2 main reasons. One, there's an item up there that's useful. Well, actually, no, it's both. Both of the reasons are the same. There are some items up here that are just really useful to have early game, if we can pull this jump off. Usually I have to fail at it multiple times before I get the angle right. You're not really supposed to do this, but it's something that's still in the game. It hasn't been patched out of the game yet, which surprises me. But I'm kind of glad it still exists, because I can do this. I really can do this, I promise you. I can do this. This time, I can feel it. Nope. That was worse than all the other times. That was a complete failure. But I can do it this time. Come on, this time. I forget which attempt I actually make it on. Not that one. Clearly not that one. I mean, I feel like that one was close. Like, I hovered there a bit longer than I should. Nope, that was a bad one. I can just see it. Nope. Nope. Like, sometimes I can do it on the first attempt, but other times it takes me fucking There we go. Anyway, first of all, we'll pick up this Homeward Bone. Very useful item to get you back to your checkpoints without losing all your souls. I don't know why the default returning item has to be such a dick about it, but it is. Inside we go to the rafters. It's a very long fall there, so we've got to be very careful. And just ignore the crow above us, trying to tantalise us with her gifts. Anyway, we're heading towards this item right here. It's an Estus Shard. If you don't know, it's very good to upgrade your Estus Flask with. It increases the amount of uses you can get out of it, which, well, early game, it's a blessing to have a lot of these. Well, at any point in the game, it's a blessing to have a lot of these. So we'll go this way now. That's not a wall, it's an illusory wall. As we wander across these rafters here, desperately trying to not fall off. You might think it's a really easy thing to not fall off, but I've rolled off of those by accident many, many times. Cover a silver serpent ring. That's what we wanted. It increases the amount of souls we get from kills. I think it's by about 20%. We have a quick chat with Hawkwood, just so I can get the little emote from him, the collapse emote. Also because later, if you keep talking to him, he gives you a heavy gem, and that's the only place I remember to get them from because my memory sucks. Now we embed the coiled sword so that we can create a bonfire in the shrine. Very important, of course, we need our main checkpoint thingy because we have to come back to the shrine to level up, which I still think is a rather obnoxious choice, but hey ho. Anyway, time to eat some souls. Om nom 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 nom. Souls. Om nom 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 nom. 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 Why am I doing that? Anyway, let's go visit the blacksmith real quick and upgrade our Estus flask. Time to quickly upgrade the Estus flask. Nice, it's now got extra uses, and when we allot Estus, we can see we've got 4 for healing and 1 for blue. I don't think I'm going to use the blue that much. The heal miracle is quite handy, but you can't really crack it off in a boss fight or anything, so that's really only going to be for the levels. The other one is force, which is fine. It's fine, I don't think I'm going to use it. Anyway, I've got my rest emote here. It's time to travel, but not to the high wall of Lothric, not just yet. We're going to quickly pop to the cemetery of Ash, because I want to do something real quick. I've got something to kill. Once I load in, I quickly open the menu and equip the snake ring, and then I make my way down towards the thing that I want to kill. Of course, we have to stop and kill the hollows guarding the way, which isn't too much to worry about. And then it's through the water to the giant crystal lizard. I saved killing it for now so I could equip that snake ring to get the extra souls from it. Despite me just taking some really avoidable damage because I rolled into the attack like the utter boss that I am, they're not actually too hard to kill, especially if you've got a striking weapon like a mace, because they're particularly vulnerable to that kind of thing. As you can see, I staggered it and move in to get the critical hit. Take that, you big bastard. I do take a lot of avoidable damage in this fight, like just there where I smartly stood in front of it whilst it was rolling towards me because I'm so big and clever. But for the most part, it's easy to avoid its attacks. It doesn't take too long before I'm staggering him again, and this will be the killing blow. Take that, you're dead, and a nice bucket of souls plus a Titanite scale for me. Not that the Titanite scale is actually going to be useful to me, like, at all. But anyway, I've got my souls and I head back to the bonfire and teleport to Firelink Shrine from there because I'm too lazy to walk. Back in Firelink Shrine, I finally talk to the Firekeeper, everyone's favourite waifu for some reason. She's the one that lets you level up if you somehow don't know that, and that's the very first thing we're going to be doing, levelling up. So I'm thinking that strength is going to be my main thing to go for. After my usual umming and ahhing over where my point should go, I put a point into endurance just to, for attacks and stuff. I raise my strength to 15 and my faith to 20, which puts us at level 15. With that sorted, it's time to finally head out to the main part of the game. High Wall of Lothric, here we come. Arriving there, we open these doors and we're greeted with Lothric Castle, a beautiful sight, and I always take a moment to appreciate it. Once I'm done basking, it's straight down the steps to kill some hollows. Just like with the hollows in the Cemetery of Ash, they're not too big of a deal on their own. If they gang up on you, they can be a bit of a problem, and there is one of the guys here that screams and lets the others know you're here, but if you're quick enough, you can delete him as well, and they won't all get up and start murdering you. Luckily, he has to get his entire scream out before the hollows actually wake up and get moving to you. He's not like the trumpet boys in Elden Ring that will, do the slightest toot, and then everyone in a 6-mile radius knows exactly where you are. He's got to finish his scream. Just down the way, there are some more hollows to kill, like this boy with a shield. Usually only a couple of attacks will knock the shield out of the way, no matter what weapon you have. At least I've found that to be the case. There are lots of dudes this way. I'm going to antagonise them a little bit and kill this guy, because I've already started. I don't like to leave a job unfinished, but look, that's a lot of dudes. We probably don't want to risk that one. So instead, we're going to go back this way, run, up the stairs so we can get the dragon to spawn. Yeah, dragon. I'm not gonna lie, this plan almost immediately backfires because the big axe dude here, who usually gets killed by the fire, survived. All of these guys are still pissed off, and that flame missed these three. I was kind of worried that I was gonna die here. Luckily, I didn't. As you can see, I'm still very much alive. And something I only found out in this particular playthrough is that this doorway is too short for the big axe murderer to get through. See? He can't fit through. Haha. Doesn't pay off to be tool all the time, does it, you bastard? I've killed his friends already. Yay. Now we just have to wait for him to leave an opening. There we go. There we go. See? So my plan didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to, but, you know, it all worked out in the end, didn't it? Nope, there's still 3 dudes there. Let's just aggro them, bring them a little closer, let the dragon finish them off. There we go. That flame doesn't hit quite as far as I think it does half the time, that's why the dudes usually survive, but hey, it worked. And we're just going to ignore the fact that a bit of box back there was hovering in midair. Now, we've got to face a Lothric knight, because I just have a death wish. Usually I'd like sneak past it, but I want to see how well I can do. I'm sure for players that can parry more effectively than myself, this guy is a complete cakewalk regardless, but as I can't, I just have to rely on getting the occasional backstab and avoid his weapon like it's the plague. Luckily, I'm pretty good at doing that apparently. Gotta avoid that attack, land a final hit, he's dead, take that, ya bastard. I don't know why I'm calling them all bastards, it's so mean. I'm such a mean little bitch. I tried to get a backstab there, and failed, because I suck. Yay, a soul. After I quickly delete the remaining enemies on the outside, because I don't like leaving this sort of thing unfinished, I head inside this tower place and face off with an assassin. Luckily the assassins are pretty squishy, I'm sure they can do a lot of damage if they get a backstab. I don't know, I've never actually been backstabbed by them. Although I did just take a knife to the face like an utter fucking idiot. I quickly pop to the roof after killing the assassin because there's a bonfire waiting for me and I like that, so I've got another checkpoint, and around the corner from that is a body with a titanite shard on it. I take a quick rest at the bonfire to recover my health, then head back downstairs. I don't bother aggroing the knight, there's no point fighting him again, although I do decide to quickly kill the assassin because screw this guy. He smells, that's my reason. Once the assassin's dead, it's over to this rafter to quickly pick up the firebomb items that are lying on this corpse, and then drop down and kill one of the assassin's mates, and then beat up the third one that's hiding in the room. He thought I wouldn't notice him. I go outside afterwards and kill some more enemies. There's one hanging over the side there that you can't see. There's some bowing before the great dragon Jeffrey. There's a dude at the bottom of the ladder. Usually he climbs up if his other mate climbs over the side, but I didn't let that happen. And I rush quickly to kill one of these dudes before it transforms into a pus monster because I can't be asked to deal with that. I also then go and track down the little Titanite lizard and kill it for the raw gem. I then drop down from the roof even though there was a perfectly good ladder I could have climbed, and I take the fight to these random archer pricks. I knock old matey boy here off the edge with a nice attack, although he will survive the fall because, you know what, I don't know why, I think maybe the game just forgets to apply fall damage to him. Although I did knock him off like a second time in one playthrough once and that killed him. I just don't think he's programmed to take damage from the very first fall. Anyway, he climbs the ladder and we have to beat him up. You know, after he's actually up here. Takes him a while. It's a big ladder. He's undead. Cut him some slack. Yeah, see, that time it killed him. I pop inside this little way. You don't really have to go this way. I mean, if you go this way, you do have access to an extra NPC later, which I'm pretty sure I completely forgot to get in this particular playthrough, because, you know what, I don't know how I managed to forget Grey Rat of the Undead Settlement. I just somehow managed to... Also, there's supposed to be a dude hanging off that banister over there, but sometimes it just isn't. Anyway, outside this room, there's a Lothric knight with a spear and a great shield. They're particularly mean. Of course, we're not going to go straight away. We're going to quickly clear these things because there's an item in there. It's the Lloyd's Talisman. No, it's the Undead Hunter thing. It was called a Lloyd's Talisman originally, that's how I always get it mistaken. Anyway, Lothric Knight, Spear, Great Shield. These guys are pricks. I dislike the length of their weapon, they can hit pretty far, and the shield just, well, it just guards against everything. That's a big hunk of metal they got. Luckily, you can kick the shield out of the way. I just kind of forgot about that little feature, the kicking the shield mechanic. I forgot about that. So, as you can see, I'm going for a backstab when I really didn't need to be. But, you know, it all works out in the end, I promise. See, all I gotta do is get past him, land a hit, there we go. He's dead, this little treasure is mine, another soul, which is always handy. And we're gonna go this way because I want to get the Estus shard that's hiding in this big room full of baddies. There's a dude off to the side. I often forget that he's there. Like, 50% of my playthroughs, he will come out and stab me because I forget that he exists. Anyway, we're in the big room now. There's an assassin here to kill. I'm going to ignore that chest because there's a shield in it that I can't use, so there's no point going for it. We want to kill this dude because otherwise he'll just throw firebombs if we wander down there too soon. I really wish I was allowing myself to use tools more freely because Firebombs will clear this place out pretty quickly. A dog jumped out at me here, that scared the shit out of me. I knocked my mace on the side there, but luckily when I actually hit him, as you saw just then, it sent him flying. So it's good to know that that's what the hammer will do. Although I attracted the halberd dude, which was a little concerning, not gonna lie, but luckily none of his other mates seemed to pick up on the fact that he'd been called to battle by his loyal hound who got, you know, home-runned into a bunch of crates. Luckily, he's not too tough, although I probably should have just been more careful about how I approached that. There was no reason for me to take all the damage I took. If I was just being careful, I probably would be fine, but it's not really how I play this game. You can see we've got a big axe boy over here, who I've annoyed with my mere presence. It's very much like real life, actually. I tend to piss people off just by being around them. But anywho, at least here I can hit him with a mace, and I don't get arrested for it. Unless there are Lothric police watching, that would be upsetting. Anyway, he's dead. There's our shard. Estes shard, that is. Oh, axe boy again. He's going to do a running jump, even though he was nowhere near me. Like, he had to know that wasn't going to work, right? Luckily, it doesn't take too many hits to finally take him out of the fight. There we go. He's dead, and I can now reach my Estes shard in safety. With the Estes shard in my possession, I head back the way I came. I quickly stop outside to grab some black fire bombs that have been left on a roof on a corpse, because that's where black fire bombs live. I then go to this big balcony place where I force the dude off to his death, and I make my way down the ladder. There were two dudes waiting for me at the bottom of the ladder. Luckily, they were both easy enough to defeat. I debate just avoiding the big fat knight down here, although looking at my Estes and my health, I figure, you know what, I can probably do this. See, I told you I could do it. And lucky me, that led to my Estes getting refilled, and I found an ember. Yay. We're getting pretty close to the boss, but before going there I head to the right because there's a shortcut to the very first checkpoint in this area this way, and I might as well get it now while it's on my mind. Heading this way, as usual, there are more hollows to kill. There's just always hollows in the high wall of Lothric. I completely forget to go to the right again back there to get some items that are waiting there. You wouldn't think I played this game as much as I did, would you? I make very easy mistakes. Oh, that's a foursome, and not the foursome I like. Once I've killed Gary and the gangbangers by missing my attack just then like an absolute mastermind, I take the elevator going up. At this point, I'm remembering that I completely forgot to activate the first checkpoint, and I've rested at the other checkpoint, so I'll respawn at the tower on the high wall, not the start point of the level. Although, if I do die, I can just, you know, travel from the high wall bonfire to the original spot, because you can do that even without activating the checkpoint, so it's not really a big deal. Anyway, I send the elevator back up so it's ready for me in case I die. I quickly grab this budding blossom stuff at the side here, and as I'm making my way back towards the boss arena, I completely forget to go up those stairs to the side leading to the treasure because I'm so clever. There's a summon sign here that we're going to completely ignore because, as I say, I'm not summoning NPC helpers, even though I usually would just to clear out these knights because I'm kinda lazy. Because I'm so big-brained and clever, I completely forget that you can go up the stairs to the right to avoid both of these dudes and then only have to face one knight, so I start luring them away to kill them one by one. Old Shieldy does get a couple of hits in here. We do tussle for quite a bit. I'm still forgetting that I can just kick his shield out of the way when I have to. I don't know when I remember that, but it's later. Anyway, eventually he's down for the count and I can move on to his brother. I don't know what that pop there was in the recording, but apparently there's a pop there. After another long tussle, this knight is finally dead, and I can head into that cathedral over there to speak to Emma. I pretty much just skip through all of her dialogue. I know what she says at this point. It's just go to the bottom of the stairs and don't get killed by the giant dog. With the small Lothric banner in hand, I'll need to summon the messengers later. I can now make my way down towards the second boss fight of the game, Vort of the Boreal Valley, who we'll meet after I'm done killing the troopers who are waiting for me, because there's always more troopers waiting for you. Luckily, whilst killing the troopers, I get a refill to my Estus flask, so, you know, it's not all bad. And I finally remember that I can kick away the shields. It only took me 30 minutes of gameplay gameplay. I'm going to try and get her down to 20 next time. But anyway, I kill off these troops, then head right into the boss room. So we're going to be fighting Vort of the Boreal Valley in just a second. Obviously we've got to go over to this door first and inspect the nasty vines in a little cutscene. I can now admire my character's outfit. I don't like this outfit at all. I don't like the turtle shell or the weirdly bright blue. None of it works for me, personally. Anyway, here's Vort. I can still remember the very first time I encountered this boss in the game. This kind of scared me, just seeing a giant dog-like knight coming out of the woodwork to attack me. I didn't pay attention to his name the first time either, so when I got stuck on the boss for longer than I really want to admit, I couldn't even remember what I was supposed to be looking up. I just typed in Dog Knight and I think that eventually led me to it. Anyway, we're gonna fight the knight now, so let's have fun. Probably shouldn't have blocked that, really, should I? Let's just accept now that blocking his giant hammer, not my best move. He's not liking me. I don't need to be taking all of the hits that I'm taking. It's just really shoddy playing on my part. I do apologise. And again, for some reason, I'm still trying to block. I think at this point, I'm used to blocking his damage. I've got a character that's like level, I want to say level 300 or so. She's got a massive bleeding great shield. Like, she can block him. This one can't. I've got a flimsy bit of wood that's barely able to stop. Well, it might stop a fly. But look at that, rolling through those attacks like a boss. Ooh, we're going to hit him in the bum while he's not looking. I really like that big frost breath thingy attack he does. I think it looks cool. I don't like getting squashed by him though. That's less helpful for the situation. I've only got now I've got no Estus left, so gonna have to be careful. Get him in the face. Get punched in the face. Now, even though he's not a particularly hard boss, usually when I start a new character, he does kill me at least once. I usually die. It's usually because I forget about my stamina, and that does me in. And he ran over me there, and now I'm dead, so it's time to finally increase the death counter. That's one death. You win this round, Dark Souls 3. I realise I cut off the recording just before I finished saying the number 3. Anyway, we're going to travel to the high wall of Lothric bonfire just so I can easily get back to where I was. If you forget to actually activate the bonfire, you spawn back in this room, so you get to go out and see the nice view again if you want, which, you know, I think is nice. Once again, I'm just going to ignore the bonfire. We're going to rush right past it and head over this way. There's an archer waiting on this balcony here that we can kill. We're going to, because there's... we might as well. We might as well. The dogs aren't hanging around, which is good. We can probably get down to this little ledge here without them noticing. They didn't notice. Always good. We probably are going to have to kill the big axe dude, though. Well, either that or I just wanted to. I'm pretty sure the only reason I did this is because I wanted to. Anyway, after I'm done beating him up, you'll see why I sent the elevator back up. It was just to make this bit easier. Always a good little tip from me to you. Send the elevator back to where it was, so you half the amount of time that you have to wait for it. It's just a good tip. To save on time, I ignore the enemies and just sort of run past them. I do manage to nimbly dodge the fire bolts of this random crossbow dude, except his mate slashes me in the face, so it's kind of for nothing. I drop down to this ledge, quickly drop kill this dude, that went well enough. I then run past the shield dudes to get to Vort. So we're going back to challenge Vorty boy. There's my souls, gonna grab those. It's only 4 grand or so. I think it's just under 5 grand. Still good to have. Obviously, we're gonna have to be careful. He's not an amazingly difficult boss, it's just really easy to get overconfident and make a stupid choice. It's me, I can make very stupid choices all the time. I'm very good at those. Look at him go. Just trying to stay under his belly. It's a really good place to be. He can't really hit you under there in his first phase. In his second phase, he's got more abilities to strike you from wherever. Oh, speaking of the second phase, here we go. Go towards... roll towards, roll towards. It's like we're dancing. He's the real dancer on the Boreal Valley, not that poser that we meet later. Get him in the leg there, smack him there. Get frostbitten because that's just something that happens in this fight. I'm pretty sure that would do more damage to me when I have more health. I think frostbitten's one of those ones that scales with the amount of health you have. I've almost got him. I think this next successful attack will kill him. Yeah, see, there we go. Only took us 2 tries and Vort is down. Probably takes most people less, but again, I make stupid mistakes and get killed easily. Anyway, Vort's dead, the gates are open, and I can now return to Firelink Shrine to do some much needed levelling up with my nice bucket of souls. I'm also just gonna eat Vort's soul when I get there, because I can't use any of his gear anyway, so... Once I'm back at Firelink Shrine, I quickly head towards Andre the Blacksmith to upgrade my Estus Flask, because obviously I got that Estus shard from the big room full of dudes. Also on my way over there, I kind of eat the souls I have. I know I can just sell them to the Shrine Handmaiden. I forgot to. I also forgot to eat Vort's soul. I think it's just because I'm used to not doing that. Anyway, I reinforce my Estus Flask, and then remember I can finally upgrade my weapon because I've got enough Titanite for that. And then it's over to the Firekeeper to do my level ups. I can get 5 this time, which is pretty good, and I put them all onto health because it's something I'm gonna need. So that gets us to level 20. It's then quickly back to the High Wall of Lothric so we can travel to the next area from there. We do so, as you probably know, by going out those gates and to this crumbling bit of road which overlooks this. It's a nice view. And obviously, we're now going to raise the banner to summon the messengers. Since we've got some cutscene downtime, let's review how we've done so far. We've got 2 bosses under our belt, and the mace is a pretty good weapon. The miracles I've got, I'm not really making a lot of use of. I'm really just kind of using them when I don't want to use my Estus Flask. I think I only used Force Miracle like once in this entire area for that goofy little kill I did earlier. But either way, I'm happy enough with the setup so far. It's proving itself to be useful. I'm kind of dreading late game areas. Mostly I'm dreading the fight with Yorm the Giant because usually you can just use Storm Ruler. I'm not going to be able to do that this time. Although maybe I'll be able to stagger him. I've got a hammer, maybe I can stagger him. But either way, we're doing pretty well. I'm especially happy with my current death counter, it just being at 1. I suspect it's at least 3 by now. Usually I die in very stupid ways early game because I'm not paying attention. Anyway, that's that little rambly bit sorted. We're now at the Undead Settlement and we can press onward. As you can see, there's some hollows here waiting at the bottom of the stairs. They're docile, we don't have to worry about them. We do have to worry about Mr. Burns in there as he releases the hounds on us. The most annoying thing about fighting the dogs is the fact that they circle around the way they do. Luckily, one hit from the mace will knock them to the ground, which will leave them open for a finisher. Although it doesn't work for all of them for some reason. This pup here did some damage to me, but then when I hit him with my mace, he didn't seem to react at all. Luckily, the follow-up attack I did knocked his lights out. Once all the dogs are dead, I can open the gate to get inside. I quickly kill the dude who released the hounds in the first place and light the bonfire. Before we go any further into the settlement, I want to quickly head out this way and pick up the NPC dude who's out here just in case I want to go down the Lord of Hollows route. I probably won't, but I like having that option available to me. There are more dogs on the way, which aren't too much trouble to deal with because they're distracted eating a body, and eventually we get to Yoel of Londor, and I make him teleport to Firelink because that's just something the NPCs can do for some reason. I also pick up the homeward bones that are just lying over here. Doesn't even give you any souls. But either way, it's now time to actually head into the settlement proper. It's full of villagers that are carrying pitchforks and machetes. The pitchfork boys can get some reach on them, so you gotta be careful. And every so often you'll find one of the evangelists, the really fat ladies who we'll see in a minute. We're also introduced to the little Frowl enemies, or the Hollow Slaves as I think they're actually called. There are a couple of instances where they'll try to drop on you from above, so it's best to find out where they're hiding, go up there and beat them before they can do that. Otherwise they'll land on you and they've got an animation attack thing that can basically wipe out your entire health bar if you're unlucky. Once we've taken out this dude here, we can get to the repair powder that's hiding around a corner. It's not particularly useful as an item, it was more useful in Dark Souls 2 when they completely balked the weapon durability. Anyway, usually I'd throw grenades at these guys, the firebombs, because they're surrounded by these barrels that will explode if you hit them with fire, but since I'm not really allowing myself to do that just yet, we're going to heal up and take them on the right way. As you'll see, I'm going to try and be careful because we really don't want to get the attention of this entire group of dudes just yet. 2 is already kind of pushing it because if they both attack you at the same time, you can lose quite a lot of health from that. And obviously we don't want to attract the big lady in the middle just yet because she has a giant mace that just It just hurts. It's rude. Once we're done whittling down the enemies here, we can afford to aggro her. She's got a big mace, as I said, you don't want to get hit by that. Not only does it do strike damage, which goes through a lot of armour, it also builds up your bleed meter. I don't think I get hit by it here, so I can't really show you it. But in general, you don't want to get hit with the blood loss status ailment because it just takes away a huge chunk of your health in one go. Luckily you can backstab her quite easily. She's got a very generous hitbox back here, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm about to parry. I parried her, see? I mean, she goes the wrong way when you do that. That animation really bothers me, but there we go. She's dead. She's not too much of an issue to deal with when she hasn't got a huge army of support around her. With her dead, we can now pick up this Estus shard and proceed further into the settlement. After quickly taking a sec to kill another villager, I head down the leftmost path as I usually go this way first. Inside this house along the way, I get into a fight with one of these cage spider dudes over some charcoal pine resin. I then drop into the room below to pick up the Warriors of Sunlight Covenant. I mean, it's useless in this run, but I just like to have it. I take out another cage spider bro for a loot drop of 5 fading souls. I then lure a red-eyed enemy towards me so I can slay him down this end of the hallway. I don't want to just run forward towards him to avoid an ambush duo. I then press forward and am able to quickly deal with the ambush duo now that I don't have to also worry about a red-eyed fuck. Making my way down the street, I have to deal with more undead villagers as well as one of the evangelists up above who is constantly throwing bugs at me. I make it under her little bridge in time to hear her fall off and take a quick moment to crack off a healing miracle. Once done, I take out the hammer bro, then proceed to do battle with the chonky girl.
Poor child, come to me.
Once she's down, I pop up to where she was stood to loot the Titanite shards. I then jump off the thing like an idiot and take a chunk of damage. I heal up for no good reason because the next bonfire is just right there, and so I decide to jump on down to it, seeing that it is just right there. I don't rest yet though, instead I move forward so I can trigger the mad spirit invasion and see how well I can batter him. Yeah, it went pretty well, didn't it? With Hoddy defeated, I scuffle with the nearby manservant and proceed towards the graveyard, but I now remember I haven't spoken to the giant yet, so this place is about as hospitable to me as a glue factory is to a horse. Luckily I wised up before an oversized arrow split me in half, so I head back up through the settlement to loop around towards the big archer boy. Along the way there are more hollows to kill, there's always more hollows, there's also another one of these things which can go fuck itself. On my way I drop down to this bit here so I can unlock another bonfire that will prove 100% useless to me in the long run, but at this point my Dark Souls 3 instinct had taken over, so yay, diversion. I mean, there were some hollows down here, so, you know, extra souls, it wasn't a complete waste of time. With that bonfire lit, I think about heading up to get the pyromancer dude, then I remember, oh yeah, I can't do pyromancer this time, so it would be a complete waste of effort, so I leave him in his cage to rot. I'm not sure why he was in the cage, but, you know, I'm guessing he did something naughty. I drop down and make my way to the sewer. Another hound stands before me, but I tell him he's been a very bad doggo and he has to go away. Inside the sewer, the local rats ask to be my friend, but I'm not looking for new buddies, so they have to die. Big Mama Rat drops the blood ring that reduces blood loss when I kill her, but I decide against equipping it because I don't really need it right now. I quickly open the shortcut to the dilapidated bridge bonfire and make my way back towards where Mr. Giant can be found. Along the way I have to contend with a pair of mean big boys who got one look at my outfit and understandably decided that I deserve pain. You can't cosplay as a tortoise around these parts, that's very important. Not gonna lie, dealing with two of them was a little bit stressful, so I go back to the sewer where I belong in the hopes that I could lure them down there and then climb the ladder back up to leave them there. Sadly, they're just slightly too big for the door. They can fit through sometimes, but it depends what animation they're doing and they don't seem to be wanting to do it just yet. Also, I'm fully aware that that hit I just took was entirely my fault. Eventually they do both line up and come through the door and I seize upon the opportunity and run like a baby. Sorry, but I've got a date, lads. Inside the big tower where the giant can be found, I meet everyone's favourite onion, Sigward, who doesn't really notice I'm there for the first moment because he's lost in thought. The first thing I do is go down the elevator and sneak outside past the Outrider Knight. I say sneak, he very clearly noticed me, and light the bonfire out here. After a quick rest, I go back inside and fight the Outrider Knight. If you're wondering why I got this bonfire now, it's because after we head up the elevator and talk to the knight, I want to deal with a big demon that's wandering around, and this is the nearest bonfire. So I kill the Outrider Knight, then head back up. After I've unravelled the mystery of the elevator, I reach the top and speak to the giant, who gives me a branch to declare our friendship. Ah, how nice of him. I then head back down the elevator, but before we get to the bottom, I roll off to the side here. Well, more of a jump, really. Sigward warns me not to go down the road with the big fiery demon in the way, so being the kind of person that I am, I immediately go down the road with the big fiery demon in the way.
I speak word of the Knights of Katamina, fight by your side.
Like all things in Lothric, this demon was nothing compared to the power of friendship. After Sigward and I do a nice toast between friends, I take my leave. Along this path there are some caged creatures, a couple more dogs, some of those fat ladies here, nothing really interesting, though I do get the mirror set after doing a death-defying leap of faith, also the chlorophyll ring. Now that Giant Boy's on our side, it's safe to go through the graveyard, so I begin my pilgrimage back to the other side of the settlement. Also, I'm fully aware that I didn't have to make that big jump there and then waste some of my stuff healing myself. That was all of the wrong choice. Yeah, that parry wasn't really worth it, was it? Yeah, I could have done a lot better there, couldn't I? After I respawn, I fast travel to the dilapidated bridge bonfire and make my way from there. Of course, before I do make my way from there, I have to quickly take it aside to go and fetch the souls that I dropped, so that's going to be fun. With them firmly back in my possession, now I can actually proceed. With the giant now a close personal friend of mine, we no longer have to worry about getting hit by his giant arrows, so we can easily clear the enemies in this area out by just letting them get hit by the arrows. I can also pick up the Estus shard. Sorry, it's a bone shard even thing. Fuck it. Past the graveyard, it's time to finally deal with the area's boss. You don't actually have to deal with his boss. If you don't know, he is entirely optional. I just like to kill the giant tree, so let's go and do that. Of course, first we have to kill some of the hollows and wake the lazy git up. Actually, I don't think you need to kill the hollows. I think you just need to get close to him, but I like to kill the hollows, so... There we go, not the most thrilling fight, but I'm glad that we did it. With the tree dead, I can now head back to Firelink Shrine. I speak to Andre while I'm here to give him that Estus shard to improve my flask's drinkingness. I also upgrade my mason and check my Estus allotment to make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. It's then over to the Firekeeper to do my level ups. I raise my vigor to 20, then do my attunement to 16, putting me now at level 27. And I think this is where we'll stop this part because this is already quite long. Whew, that was a longer first part than I intended, but hey, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you do. Be sure to check back in the future for the next part of this. Again, we can't really call this a challenge run, this is just my excuse to play Dark Souls and let you watch me. But anyway, that's enough for now, as I said. If you made it this far, I'm going to flash something on the screen for you to type into the comments just to prove you made it this far. It's like I did in the Fallout videos, only these ones will be Dark Souls themed, not Fallout themed. And with that all said, I love you all, we'll see you next time, take it easy, and may the sun shine upon you.